Give it 2 minutes. Gordon, how long is the last workshop? Okay, let's start then. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start off by getting this and getting a hit event, and we're going to actually start off by creating an event from our target interactions. Yeah. So what we first want to do is, I mentioned last time that we want to look at tags. So we're going to look at a tag here. So you can actually make tags for a bunch of things. So normally the player tag will have the player tag, and we can actually add also a new tag. And we usually call this tag for here, we'll call it target. And we're going to add the target tag to the training dummy. And more specifically, we're going to add it to its collider. I'm going to make this untitled again. And this is the collider, and we're going to actually add a collider onto this, and we're going to call this a capsule collider. Give me 1 sec, because I want to make sure I can see chat. Okay, yeah. Feel free to send any questions you have to chat. Anyways, so now we have a training collider. We have a capsule collider on this object, and it's actually going to be able to collide with our bullet. And that's what's going to tell us if something's been hit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here. We're going to go to our bullet. And remember, this was one of the Kahoot questions, why we put is trigger on. We put the is trigger on for this bullet because we want it to just hit the thing and tell us of a trigger. We don't want it to actually affect the landscape currently or do anything like with the physics engine. We just want it to act as a trigger mechanism. So we check off the is trigger function on the bullet. And now we can actually add some events to make the trigger actually work. Okay, so specifically what we're going to do is we're going to look at our physics raycast. Let's go back here again. And we're going to make another target interaction script. So we want to go to our project and we want to go to interactions. We want to create a new C# script and we'll call it target interactions. And by double clicking on target interactions, we open this new script. And what we're going to do now is we're going to create an event. And to create this event, what we do is inside the public interactions class, we're going to call a public Unity public Unity event. And it's going to be a bool type event. And we're going to do an on target hit. Now, what this does is it actually makes an event that we can call from other scripts. So for example, let us here make a public game object, like target interaction. So now I'm actually referencing not a game object, but the actual script. And I call it target interactions. And we see that now I can actually use events from the target interaction script by just invoking them. And the way we do this is, remember when we got hit point before? Well, here we want to check if the hit dot transform dot tag equals the target. So if that's the case, then we can actually do the invoke. We can actually invoke. We don't need this. We can just invoke. So we use target interactions dot invoke. Oh, sorry. Dot on target hit dot invoke. And now we invoke it with true because we know that it's been hit. And then what we also want to do is we want to invoke it with false when we reset the shot. So on the reset, we should call, after it's ready to shoot again, we call target interactions dot on target hit dot invoke false. So essentially what we're doing is we're setting a signal through the target, but now we need to subscribe to this event. It's called subscriptions. And the way we do this is through our target interaction script. And what we'll do is we'll do on target hit dot add listener handle on target hit event. And then down below, or just here, we don't even need to update, private void handle target hit event, and we take a bool is dead. And what this would do is it'll check if it's dead. We're set hit to equal true. Otherwise, what we want to do, okay, so for now, what we'll just do is we'll just set the animator. So we should also get the animator so we could trigger the animation of our target, right? You want the target to go down. So how we can actually trigger the animation is we get the animator and we take the animator dot set bool, and our thing was is dead, and we wanted to set the is dead. And we can add some more things like keeping score and other things here eventually. But first, let's see how this would work. Yeah. Okay, so let's first see how this would work in total. Let's go back to our project. Let's see if there's any console errors. There is one console error. Oh, in order to use events, you need to do using Unity engine.events. Okay, yeah, now the errors are gone. We go back to the project. Now I want to attach it to our target dummy. So we have target interactions goes here on the target dummy. Actually, what we do, yeah, I can just do it like that. Attach the target dummy, and then we attach itself as the animator. And now if we click play, we'll actually have a console error. Oh, we don't, but we will have a console error because in our player object, we have shooting interactions, but we're missing the reference to our target interactions. So we give it that reference, click play. And we see that we can get something like this working. So now we got bullet shot, that's like clicked. Now if I click here, we see that, see, now I got hit. Now I can continue trying to hit this dummy, and every time it'll go down, it'll hit. Notice that if I hit something else, the animation won't play, it'll be good. But if I hit it, it'll go down, and I go back, then I hit it, and I go down. You see? Cool, right? Any questions about how we got this now? We simply used one event. And how this works is, if I go back to the code quickly, this checks if the thing that the bullet hits is indeed the target. If it is, it invokes an event that tells it that the target will be hit. Then what happens is this target hit subscribes to the event, and it will call the handler on target hit event with the boolean of what we invoked. So we invoke it with true. That means for now it'll be true and it'll be false when. So we just basically just set the animated value, the one that I showed you here. We just set this boolean value to whatever is that is when we get the event. And that means that from our shooting interaction script, we can call the animation true or false by invoking true here and false here. Does everyone get that? Because now we're going to just have two small things, I believe, left, and then our game will be pretty much complete of how I intended it or envisioned it to be. Now the only thing left is we want to use more of our UI and actually create a scoreboard. So how we can do that is we can go back to our canvas. And inside our canvas, we can add a text mesh pro. So when you add a TM pro, it'll say import TMP pro essentials. Feel free to just click that. It should be not that bad. And then what we're going to do is here, we're going to, so this is how you position stuff on your canvas. And this is an overlay. I want this to be at the top. Position 0 means that it's 0 in the center. If I did 10, it would go to the right. If I did -10, it goes to the right, left. And this is all with respect to your offset. So what we're going to do now is let's make this like 20. -30, -50. Okay, yeah. That looks good to me. The only thing is I think I like the size a bit bigger. So now going back to the text, you see that I can use this 2D UI to stretch it out a bit more. And also I can center the text so that it's in the exact center of the screen. Yeah. And now what we do is we can change this to be like score 0. And what we do from here is maybe we want some outlines. Add like 0.5. Oh, that's too thick. 0.2. Then maybe bold it. Looks good to me. Yeah. And basically now we want to increment the score, as well as we can actually use our boxes to do something quite cool. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make our target interactions a bit more fun as a game, I'd say. And the way we do that is we first get our public TMP_text. And in order to use TMP, you need to say using TMP row, I think. Yeah. And then we get our text as our score text, and we get the transform of blocks. Okay, now we can actually do something more interesting than just setting the animation. We can check if it's dead. If it is dead, we should actually increment our score. So we should do private score, private int score equals 0. So at the beginning, the score starts at 0. We do score plus equal 1. We do score text dot text equals score. So now we're just setting the score text to be exactly what we wish it to be. So it should be something like this, plus score. And then we do is hit equals true. And then here we do else if is hit. So in this condition, what I'm saying is so if it's not dead and it was hit, then that means that I need to, like the object was hit and we're putting it back up. But I don't want to just put it back up in the same place. I want to like move it, right? It would be really boring if the thing just kept on going in the same place. Like you wouldn't be able to do anything much with it. Like you just keep shooting the same spot and you just get points. So in order to make this actually a more fun game, we're going to randomize what box the target will show up on. So what we do is we get the number of children underneath our blocks. So this would be the transform of like the parent of all the blocks. This will get the number of children in that. Then we'll get a random child using Unity engine dot random dot range, I believe, yeah. And we just get a random child in the range from 0 to the number of children. And then we do the transform of the block. So this is going to get us the exact block that we want. Dot get child. So we get the child using that index. And then we do the transform dot position equals a new vector. So now we just need to reset the position of the current dummy. And that would be block position dot x comma block position dot y. Oh. But the problem is we can't just put it at the exact same position. We want to actually add half the height. So we do the float of 0.5 times the block dot local scale dot y comma block dot position dot c. So that will give us a new vector 3 for the position. So that'll update the position. And then we can just set is hit to equal false here. And that should be good. And now all we have to do is go back, check our console errors, make references, and see how it works, if it works. Okay, so it doesn't seem like there's any console errors, which is a good sign, I guess. Should actually make this a 0 and make this negative. And then move down our player to the, okay. Oh no, we should move down the training dummy at the beginning. Okay, so the reason I zeroed the blocks is because I'm going to set the transform of our training dummy. Set the transform of the training dummy to be the block cube positions. But since the blocks is the parent of this, if there was an offset, it would be added to the block positions. So by zeroing the blocks, I made it so that the position of each cube is the position in its real space, like in like the actual world space. For example, if I were to change this to a 1 in the X, we see that the cube 1, cube 2, cube 3, their X positions did not change, but we saw them move in the real world. We call that word position. And what that means is that there was a parent that changed the position, even though the children's positions are still the same, right? And in order to stop that, we need each of the parents of cube 1 of all these cubes to have 0 origin positioning. So that means that the position of all of these blocks only depend on the transforms they have themselves and not their parents. And now by doing that, I can add the score text and I can add the blocks transform. And now I can click play. So we got a bullet shot. We jumped, we hit him. He disappeared and he's up somewhere else, right? And you see that my score went to 1. We hit this guy, he goes up, he goes down. He's up there again, he got back up. And now I'm trying to hit him again. And then you hit him again and he goes down. Now you need to see where he goes again. He's here. So you shoot him, he goes down. If I miss, nothing happens, right? I need to go again, but there's a delay, right? So I can't just keep shooting. And then you have this scoreboard type thing where you hit him, your score goes up, he disappears, you need to find him again and you shoot. And overall, that's the entire game that we've created today. Yeah, and you see that he goes exactly like on top of each block in the middle because that's how the block positioning works. We just had to add half the height of the block. And I'll show you that right now, actually. You see that in the scene, if I click on this block, the origin, the position of this is the exact dead center of this block. That means that by adding half of the height back to it, we get the positioning of the training dummy, which is positioned straight at the bottom. Does that make sense? Is everyone good with that? Yeah, so overall, that's how we created this game. So I believe that you guys have a game jam that you'll be doing in the following weeks. So it'd be nice to see you guys using rigid bodies, using the force that we talked about. You have force on, force off. Sorry, you have force and you have impulse. And you can like create a simple scoring system like this in the game. And that'd be a good game jam. Also, see how some assets have animations. We went over the asset stores, animations. We went over the animated panel and how you can create parameters. You can even do better using Mixamo. I don't know. I think I have time, but I can quickly show you something. So this is Mixamo, and basically you can get characters here for free, and you can actually download them. Let me sign in quickly. I just continue with my Google account. It's completely free. So you see that we can get animations and characters here. So for example, say I wanted to get this character. I can use this character now. And see, you can get him in a T pose. You can download him, and you can download him for FBX for Unity and drag him in like in your actual project. And then what you do is you can get animations, and these animations can also be targeted to a specific character, and you can download the animations with or without skin. Without skin means you can assign them to different characters. So like if you're creating a game with multiple characters, you might choose without a skin. But if you chose with skin, like it would come with the character and be able to play it. Like either way, it depends on what you're trying to create. But essentially what you can do is you can add in these new transitions. And what these transitions are, they're just these transitions right here. See this right here? This is a dyed animation. So if I go to the animation, like, let me go back to the project. So this is the animator, right? And we see that they have, oh, they embedded it. So you see, okay, yeah, here. We have a dyed animation right here. And this is the animation that's actually embedded into this animator. And it has a motion dyed speed 1 motion. And you can, let me show you quickly. You can, like, for example, say I wanted to download this without skin. Uh, I can show this in Finder. Then I can actually just pull this into my project. So now I have an animation and it actually comes with an animator, right? And this is the animation clip. And what we can do is we can go into the animator. I'm going to bring this. Oh no. Did I do? Okay, yeah. So we can bring this up here. And you can see that I can actually just drag in this animation. And now, like, instead of the dyed animation, I could actually just make a transition to this animation and do stuff with this animation. And this is just another animation just like this one. For more details about exactly, like, you can actually make a blend tree as well, where you can like combine different animations. Um, so what this uh, I have a link on it, but basically like what you can do is you can add, like, I don't have enough animations, but you can add like animations here. Wait, let me delete this and go back to my base layer. Delete this and I can create a new from new benchy. Click on this and then I'm in a new layer now and I can insert this. Okay, I think I have to add a motion then. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, here we go. And then you can add the animation here. And you see that now what happens is I can add a different motion field and have it like take in a different, I don't have another animation, but basically what happened is you can add different animations and then based on, like, for example, you can have a 2D directional field. And what happens is depending on how close you are to certain points. So let's say that this, was 0, 0, and this was 0, -1. Then this is how close your blend is. Depending on how close your blend is, you could actually get different positions. And right now we only have 2 parameters, but I could actually make a different float parameter and I call it X and I call a different float Y. And you see that by changing the parameters here to X and Y, I can actually now make a 2-dimensional blend tree. And what it'll do is it'll take the closer animation depending on my 2 parameters, X and Y. This is a very brief way of a blend tree, but if you look at the descriptions, like in the lesson plan, at the end there's a link on the blend tree. and like someone who's using the blend tree with Mixamo. And that's like another way you can like improve your final project. And I think the last thing I'd really want to show you, I didn't get for some reason in this project, my IntelliSense didn't work. But if I open my other project, yeah, so I really suggest you to try getting IntelliSense working. And I have it working with OmniSharp as you see here. And how it works is if I highlight certain attributes, instead of starting up, but instead of starting up, it's loading. Okay, yeah. So there are a few extensions that you can use to like get good IntelliSense working. And especially if you guys are working in team projects, this is of utmost importance, I think. First of all, the extension GitLens allows you to see within VS Code and Unity, like who changed what line and what they did. So for example, I committed this 5 hours ago, right? And the next thing is if I highlight on a certain code, it tells me what that code does. So this is game object and instantiates a game object and it has 9 overloads. It takes these as parameters. Then, for example, if I wanted to look up implementations or references to shoot, I could see, okay, so this is one. Then I can go like next, 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 and like see different implementations. And for example, I could see what raycast does, what transform.position does, the word space position of the transform, what transform.forward does. It returns a normalized vector just by highlighting on it, you know? And I feel like for starting out, this is very important. And like if I want to see where process bullet position was used, I could just control click and go to exactly where it was used. I could like again go to definitions. I could look at references directly by peeking at them from their definitions. Like there's 3 references here. There's 6 references to the start position, and I can scroll through each one. And I think like especially for Unity, being able to like jump across projects is very important. For example, see how I have target interactions. What if I don't know what target interactions does? Or if I specifically don't know what on target hit does? I could firstly just control and click and see what it does, or I could actually jump to where it's defined and see how it's added and used. And I think the way you do this, I added a link also in the Google Doc that allows you to set up IntelliSense for yourself. But you need a C# extension in VS Code. You need Mono, and you need to download the .NET SDK. And with those, you should be able to basically have IntelliSense like I do and be able to quickly like look at what things are, look at their commits, look at where they're used, look at their definitions. And like, especially like, for example, what does range do? It literally says right here, right? There's a min inclusive, max inclusive, and it tells me like it returns a random integer within like this bounds. Okay, I think I have gone over everything I have to actually talk about today. I think we're a bit early, but is there any questions or even anything someone would like me to go over because we have time and you guys are going to have to start making your project soon, so it'd be good for you to ask questions now. Any specifics, any questions? Okay, if not, I think for your game jam this week, you have not really any specific theme. You can build whatever you want, but I think you should have an objective type game in which there's a score. But yeah. Sorry, did someone unmute? But I heard something. All right. Okay, Gordon, can we wrap up early then? Okay. I hope you guys learned something today. Yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know like now in the chat. Otherwise, I'll end this meeting for everyone and good luck on your game jam in the following week.